Thanks for joining. We have lecture on Python training related to Python for network engineers, and this knowledge we are going to utilize in our CCNA DevNet course. Anyways, the scripting related to Python will be used to do the automations, and irrespective of certifications, it can be utilized over any platform, Cisco and non-Cisco platforms as well. What I have done, I have created different type of unit 1, unit 2, like that. You can see in unit 1 we have to learn about the data expressions, statements and examples related to that. Then unit 2, where we have the control flows, loops, like these are most the conditions that if this will happen, then what will happen, if this will not happen, then what will happen, if there is any loop condition, if we want to print something regularly, all those conditions will be there in unit number 2. In unit number 3, so actually we'll see that from here the level of scripting will increase from unit number 2. So unit number 1, you will understand the basic construction or building block of Python, like integer, float, boolean, etc. Now these things, these knowledge that you have, that you will get from unit number 1, slowly you will see that you have to go and add these knowledge in the upcoming units. So upcoming units like unit number 2, if you go and see the script, the size of a script will increase. So that means you have to put a lot of focus, lot of focus, and you have to do some hard work in unit 1 and unit 2. If your unit 1 and unit 2 they are good, then you can see that unit 3 we have to understand our functions and array. Not only that, functions and array, but what is recursion, string, slicing, immutability, string functions. This is actually very important to related to our networking automation. Unit number 3 and unit number 4, they are very important. So if we have very good foundation in unit number 1 and 2, then 3 and 4 will give you all those automation script. With that, you can do most of the networking functions. So here you can see that unit number 4 deals with list, tuples, dictionaries. A dictionary is little bit complex data structure. List is very much formatted data structure. Even from day one itself, we are going to utilize the list. And later on, you will see that we have to go and use the dictionaries because they have key and value pair. You have key and value, like that. Anyways, we'll discuss this in unit number 4. Then unit number 5, you can see that file handling techniques, error handling techniques. This is something like you can create good, robust type of automation scripts where if some error will happen, then you can recover from that error, or the script will tell you that in line number 200 you have this error. So like that, you have to go and use that script, right? Then obviously packages and modules are there. Oh, so we have only 5 unit. These 5 units, it maybe take maybe 10 sessions to complete or 8 sessions to complete. We'll see that, but we'll go slowly, because after day 1 or day 2, you will see the complexity will increase. Right. So let's just start. Unit number 1. In unit number 1, what is the topic? Topic is introduction, expression, and statements. So let's try to understand these things, like data types that you have: integer, float, boolean, string, and list, and variables, right? And then you have expression statements, precedence of operations, comments, module functions, how to use functions, and all those things. Let's do this one by one. Slowly we'll go. First of all, you need to create your infra where you can go and practice. So for that, you can go and download this from python.org. Even no need to do this much. Simply go and install Microsoft Visual Studio Code software. There you can go and practice everything. It's very good software, it's easy to use, and we are going to use that same software in our class. Okay, so assume that you have your infra ready for the programming purpose. First few line you can see what is Python. This is high level interpreted programming language known for this. Basically, we are going to use Python for our network automation. So, and Python is fast because this is very much interpreter level language where you can give some input and you'll get some output. Provide some input, you'll get some output. It's like very fast. So internal structure of Python is in a way that it is fast, and that's why you can use it for automation script, and even you can utilize Python for testing purposes as well. Right, so without wasting any time, let's move to the section that we want to learn. Let's start with the basics of data types. What data types we have? Now, if you go and solve why you need it, then you'll understand what is this, why we need it. So if you go and check your networking devices, suppose if I have to go and check the inventory, if you go and check the switch or router inventory, then what are the things you will get from that inventory? In that inventory, you may have serial number, chassis ID, some part ID. You may have some output in form of integer. You may have some output in form of characters, strings, or you may have some value which is in the floating value as well, right? So likewise, you will see that the data types in Python, the data types we may have integer. Integer means full number. You may have float, means float means after dot you have some numbers, integer and then float value. Then you have Boolean, true or false. This is very important for our programming because later on when you go and create some logic where you have to decide if true, then take this action. If false, then take this action. So that's you have the Boolean expression. Then you can see a string. A string is one of the very interesting data structure or data type that will be mix of, you can see that mix of characters and integer. But this integer also, the Python interpreter will take this as a character, right? So this string character is very important because, for example, switch interface, switch description, switch interface, gigabit 000, description, description connected to core router 1, core router 2. Those definition will be in terms of string, right? So this string is very, very important as a data type. Then you can see the list. List is also very important. Why list is important? Because later on, when we go and put some conditions, suppose you have list of some items. Here you can see VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, like that. You may have list of hundreds of items. From this list, if you want to read these items one by one, right, one by one, then you have to go and put some condition, you have to put some for loop, you have to put some loop, and then from this list you can go and read these items one by one, and you can take action. So this list part is very important. There is one question related to networking automation where you have to go and uh, collect some output related to show IP route, related to show log, related to show IP OSPF never, etc. And then you have to So what you can do that you can go and create a list. So for example, I can go and define one list, output logs, and then this will be in this bracket. If you have any configuration, this should be in the double quotes, show IP route, and then I can go and give show log again like this, show log, then maybe show IP OSPF neighbor, and then you can go and close this. Now you can see this is also one example related to list. So not only that you have these integers within the list, you may have some output that you want to print. Now these list item, you can go and refer. How you can go and refer? So suppose output log, suppose if you go and print output logs 0, 0 will go and refer this. Then if you have 1, this will refer this. If you have 2, this will refer this. So list items, you can go and print one by one, one by one, one by one. You can go and print these items. So this list is very important. Actually, two data structure. One is list and one is dictionary. They are very important because if you have to go and write complex programming, at that time you will see that you have to go and utilize this concept of list and dictionary that we'll study later. You have to utilize it because within list itself you may have list, so you have nesting of list, and within dictionary also you can call list and dictionary as well. It's like, you can increase the complexity as per the complexity of your programming with respect to list and dictionary. That will focus more in the upcoming session. Apart from that, you can see the other data structure. You have the variables. Variables means that a reusable namespace. That means that you can call those namespace anywhere in the program. And again, later we have to learn that you may have local variable, you may have a global variable. So variable scope can be defined within the function or within the program, locally to the function and globally to the program, the main program that we will see. It is a placeholder. It's a namespace placeholder. It can be utilized. That's the variable. Then finally, you can see two statement here. One is expression and one is a statement. So what is expression? Expressions are combination of values, variables, operators that compute a value. So this operator part is very important, that we'll see in the next slide. What order of operations we have actually. Let me go here. Yeah, you can see order of precedence of operations and all. So this operator means if you want to add two numbers, so 2 plus 2, this 2 you can define as a variable or as a fixed value. It's up to us, that is a fixed value or variable. But two variables can be added with operators, and then the program will compute that. So if I go and write one program, 2 plus 2, suppose I have one program to get the results. So suppose I can say total ports here. For example, 2 plus 4. Now this port count may be variable that you have defined somewhere and you're calling here in this particular output. For example, 2 plus 4. 2 plus 4. I want to print a result, the output for 2 plus 4. So here you can see that this 2 or 4 can come as a value or variable. There is no problem on that. Then you need one operator in between them. I need some plus, minus, subtraction, multiply, divide, etc. The operators in between these values or variables. But Python has to go and use its mathematical function to add them. That's why we have this compute. So Python had that logic that it will go and add these two numbers, and then it will print the result as 6. That will be your expected output, right? So you can see that very small program, but you have the values, you have the variables, and then you have the expression, and then you are getting the output, right? So, likewise will grow. So likewise will grow in our program. We'll go and create one line, then two line, then three line, then four line, then we'll go and connect one with three, two with four, like that, and then we'll get some output. We'll see that. We'll go and develop that logic in upcoming sessions. Then finally, a statement. So statements are nothing but instruction that Python interpreter can execute. For example, print total ports. Total ports. So this is the statement here. It will go and print the port count, and you have to define this port count, suppose 2. So 2 plus 4 will be 6. It will go and print 6. So if you go and execute this statement, you'll get the output as a 6. We cover just 2 slides so far related to what are the basic data types we have in Python. So we have the integer, we have the floats, we have a Boolean, we have the strings, we have the list and dictionary as well, variables, expression, statement. So far, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Okay. So we have, I think, only 1 or 2 slides. After that, we have the programming example. We'll directly log into the Micro Studio Visual Code Point, and then we'll do the programming. We'll understand all these things. So here you can see one more theoretical slide, order of precedence. You have these operators. You have multiplication, division, floor divisions, modules, these asterisks. You have these, and then you can see the order. So suppose, for example, if we have to go and compute this value, 5 plus 3 into 2, and then double multiplication 2, 4, 1, like that. So how this order will go and get calculated? So first of all, it will give the precedence to this bracket. Then this will happen. So this, what will the value of this? This will be 4. You can see 4. And then 8 into 4 will happen. So this, and then you can see 32 by 4, this and this. So this is something that while you do practice your programming, you will understand more. But in our network automation, you will not get such type of examples. This is something that you have to do some mathematical calculations. So you will understand that in terms of order of operation, you have parentheses, then you have the exponentiations, then multiplication, division, floor. Like this is the order. So if you have expression, then first this operation will happen, then this will happen, then this will happen, this. Finally, this will happen, then addition, subtraction, comparison, and all these things. So this is the mathematical order of operation by which the Python will go and interpret the values or compute the values. But generally what you will you will get simple format like this. So you have to add two expressions or two values for more precise output, or maybe two variables you have to go and add, and you have to do some multiplication or subtraction, like that you have. Okay, let's directly go and deal with the programs. Before starting the program, whenever you write your program and share somewhere, like any GitHub or any public places, so others can go and collaborate with your programming, you should put comments in your program. So if some other guy will go and read your program, he should understand that this part of function is doing this. This part of code, this part of block of code is doing this thing. And for that, you can go and put comments in your program. We have multiple options to put the comment in our Python program. You can see you can use this hash symbol to give single line command, or you can use this triple quotes to give multi-line commands as well. So this is something that you can go and give the commands, right? All right, let's go and put all these together, all these information together, and let's go and write our program. So here you will see that we have our first program. And what is this program? Display the switch details. We want to print the output. Basically, it's a very basic program. And if you go and learn the Python programming, the first program will be Hello World. Since we are network engineers, so our first program is this, to print the switch information. Right. So you'll see here all these lines you will understand, and then you have the print statement. Print is something that you want to print the output. Now, since Python is an interpreter level language, you can write this program line by line and print line by line as well. But better, let's go and create one script. So I'll go and create a script like this, where I want to print. What is this type? What is this Python type? This is?
It's characters.
That is a string.
This is a string. And
String.
what about this?
That's also a string.
This is also a
It's
string.
string.
It seems like this is an integer value, but this is also a string, right? And what about this?
That's a
Integer.
number.
This
Yeah,
is number,
Integer, huh?
integer, right? And this is?
List.
This is a list, right? A list of 4 items. And this is what?
a
Boolean.
This is Boolean, right? Yeah. So you can see here, I try to put different type of data formats or different type of Python data structure or basic data structure in one program. And you can see these two are similar, although, but this is integer and this is a list and this is the Boolean. Now in the upcoming program, we'll go and use some conditions as well, but let's start with this. Let me pull my Visual Studio. So
Ratnesh, just one question.
Yep.
Like the VLANs list.
Mhm.
On that case, it's a list of integer numbers, right?
It can be list of integer, it can be list of strings as well. But if it is a string, you have to put within double quotes like
Exactly.
this.
That will be my question. Exactly. That we know. If I put the commas, it comes to string, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Even you can give this, or you can use this.
Okay.
Anything you can use. All right, so let's do this.
Yeah.
Let me open the.
when I'm trying to run that code, it's asking me to install a Python extension.
Yeah.
Which one should I install?
Any Python. First 3. So first one or maybe second
I
one.
I have the first 2 is Python and the second one is Python debugger.
Yeah, so if you go here and there are so many different interpreters. So once you are searching like this from the extension, you can install this from, you can see Microsoft.com,
Yeah.
or
Okay,
you
we'll
can
install the same.
install
Yeah.
from first 2,
Well,
either this or this. First will also work. All right, so let's go and write our program. We can go and give the comment like this. And this is our Python script. And what you want to do here, since I'm not saving this program as a Python program, you can see that by default it is taking some other markup language or some other format, and that's why we are seeing this blue type of character. So what I'll do, I'll go and save this first. If I go and use Control S and
Are you typing the editor there or what? Okay.
markdown language, they are saving it as a markdown language. Day one, script one, and then I have to go and change the extension. Now you will see color will change. This is the comment we have. So its color is green. So this is our Python script, and we want to print. What we want to print? Switch 01 information. Now this comment that you can.
Ratesh, to start typing there, you go to the main screen or where?
Yeah, main screen. You can create new page.
Okay,
Like you can
In the
create
tab,
in the
day one.
notepad. Let me close all these.
Where you put the name, Python one, you play that one, okay.
Yeah, day one underscore one dot py is my extension. So if you save this as a Python file, so you will get the extension called py. That's for Python. So this is our program that we want to develop. So we have discussed this thing that either you can go and give single line comment, or you can go and give the multi-line comment. So if you have to give multi-line comment, then what you need, you can go and give this,
triple com,
and then you can end with like this, right? Okay, so we want to write our script. So let's go and write, and let's go and print the information related to switch. What we want to give the host name. What's the host name of our switch? That's switch 01, right? This is what? This is nothing but the string. And then what we want with this switch? Some information related to switch. IP address, or better MGMT management address to access the switch. For example, 10, 10, 10, 10. Then how many ports? Ports it has. The switch having maybe port 48 is okay, normal range. Then other information. How many VLANs you have? VLANs that we can go and print within a string, right? Within a list of items or orders, order list 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, like this. And then if you want to use a condition, these scripts I'm going to use in other programs as well later on. So these are small lines that you are seeing, that defining something, defining variables, defining list, defining some numbers. These things are going to get utilized later on. Then finally, if you have the Boolean condition is active. Remember, if you type true, then it will not change the color. True, all letter in a small. But if you go and use like, T in caps, you can see it will go and change the color. Likewise, if you type false,
but what
it's
does it
like,
mean when change the color?
so it will take as a Boolean value. So
Okay.
if I type if in caps and type, you can see.
Okay.
So it is taking yes and no. Boolean means either 0 or 1. 0, no, 1, yes. And now we can go and print. Now let's go and print these numbers one by one. So if I go and print the host name, and let me save this program, and let's go and run this. So I need to go and give the proper path where I have the program. So I can go to the documents, and then I can go to this folder, and then I should go to the CCNA folder, and then I have, oops, Python. Instead of Python, I write some Py or something. Anyways, and then enter. Let me check that program is there not. So you can see I have day 1_1, and then run this, execute this. So python.exe day 1_1. I can see the output switch 1. Why? Because we are printing only
The host name.
one thing. That's the host name, right? Now, if you see our program, I'm using this small f-fare, right? And then host name. We'll see why it is. Let me go and use this structure. So again, I can go and print. I'll show that why it is there. And then we'll put some comment as well. Management address, print the ports, print the VLANs, print the is active. Control S to save it and run this program one more time. So now you will see the output here, the output, that's okay. And I should go and add some more lines here. So output here, switch and this and this. We are getting everything is active, false. So we are getting everything. But if I go and put some name here, like, I want to print host name and the host name like this. If you want the output in this format, then you have to go and use a small f here. Otherwise, it will not work. So what I'm telling here, that if I go here, and if I can go here, and if I do like this, say host name, let's understand that. And let me go and comment, oops, not here. Comment this. I just wanted to print the host name. So let's go and run this.
Host name is still not as a variable.
Yeah, so because now how this print statement is working, that since we have this quotes, within quotes, it will go and take all this information as a string, right? So I have to go and give some parameters, some like, some such type of parenthesis, right? And then it's still, if I go and print, you will see that it will go and print like this. So problem here is this, that I want to give the name host name, and then I want to print the host name as a switch 0, right? 0, 1. Like I want to print like this, host name, or maybe host name age, or maybe like switch host name is, like that I want to print. But I want to print the name of the switch. But what it is doing, it is not printing the name of the switch, it is printing the entire strings, because print is taking everything as a string. So what you can do here, if I go and use f here, now you can see the color got changed. If I remove this, you will see the color is this. If I use f, that means it is taking this as a variable value. So now if I go and use the run the program, now you can see switch host name is switch 0, 1. So now you can understand the use that we have, why we are using this small f here, right? So again, I can go and use this f here, and then management address is, and then we can go and give the management address, Here you can go and give if something is wrong seems, but we'll see that. Then what we can put here, number of ports, and then right,
I didn't take it.
because we have to go and use this. We have to end this program as well, right? So we are starting this program like this. See, you can see the host name. Small things will come, but the point here is this, that Python will throw error. So once we are starting this, total VLANs are, you should go and give this VLANs, and you should go and close this. Let's go and run this program. If we have any error, it will throw that. So now we can see, likewise, I can go and print the last statement as well, that is active. So there is no problem on that. Now you can see, very small program, but we have added so many lines here. We have defined the variables, then we are printing those in terms of, you can think this as a user information plus variable. Someone will see our output, he will understand what information we are printing. And even we can go and give one more statement here, print a statement, like we want to print what is the, or like this, information about the switch, and you can give new line character as well. So the output will print after, oops, new line. So what I'm telling here is this, that the output that you can see here.
Ratnesh, sorry, how do you get that screen? How do you this the screen below the program? How do you get that one?
This is screen you have to pull from here. So once you start your program, you can see like this, but you have to go down, and from here you have to pull it. And not only that,
Okay,
you have this
yeah, I
type
got it.
of option. I'm using PowerShell here, but if you go here, drop down menu is there. You can go and install git bash. So you will see some Linux live type of, you know, shell. From there also, you can go and execute the programs. So from here also, I can go and go to documents, Bandicoot, CCNA, that folder. Oops. I can go to that particular folder. There are so many CCNA, BGP, or you can use like this CCNA, BGP. I'm not getting that path. You have 61 possibilities. Wow. Anyways, you can go and use that particular path that you have, and then you can write your script. And I can copy from here like this. And then I can go here and I can do this CD, change directory. Too many arguments. Let me go and fix that. Documents. One second. CCNA BGP CCNA DevNet. So problem with this that it's unable to read this, and then where we are, then we have the city. Oh, we are there. So from this cell also I can go and run this day one by one. Anyways, I am going to use this PowerShell. From here, even you can go to your CLI as well. If you have installed Python in your system, I can open my command line, and then I can go to my folder where I have the CCNA. Hard to find. And from here also, I can go and run the program from my command line. Right. So up to you from where you are running the programs. Better everything is at one place. So you can build your program and you can run from here as well. Both things you can do, right? All right, so let's move on and let's see the next example. We have learned a lot from this example, that how we can define the variables, how we can print, how we can put some name and then print the values. Those things we have checked. The second example you can see here that use the operators and calculate total bandwidth. So for total bandwidth, you can see that we can define port speed, suppose 1 Gbps per interface. Total number of ports, suppose we have 48 ports. Then total bandwidth will be ports into port speed. So here you can see that you have the output that you want to print. Total bandwidth, you want to call this. Anyways, up to this point, Python will go and calculate the value. What you are doing in the print statement, simply you are calling this particular output within your print statement. So it will go and print 48 into 1, that means 48. This will be the output. Right? Any doubt in this?
No, I'm okay.
This is easy example, right? This is like you have 2 variables,
Mm.
3 variables. You can multiply.
From where
Mhm.
it takes the dot zero because the value is only 48.
Sorry, come again.
Why from where it gets the dot zero on the output? The total port is 48.
Yeah, total port 48. So 48 into 1. If you multiply 48. So what will happen with line number 3? Line number 3,
Huh?
what you are printing? You are printing line
Oh,
number
got
3.
it, got it.
You're
Yeah,
printing
got it,
this,
got it.
right?
Yeah. Okay,
So that's why we have this output.
okay, got it, got it.
Even you can add more print statement that print port speed, print total ports, and then finally you can, okay,
Mhm.
the the overall output total bandwidth will be
Mhm.
this. Then you can, so you have 3 print statements that you can get. Likewise, so because this is day 1, so that's why I have added very small examples. Now these 2 examples are little bit complex than the earlier example. So let's understand these 2. I think total 5, 6 scripts are there in day 1. Let me see. This is example number 5. That's it, I think, yeah. Because I will not go and stretch to the functions and all. We'll go slowly. So today we have only 5 scripts. This will be the last script for the day today. Let's go and focus in these 2 scripts, and then I'll go and explain you the 5th script, and then we'll stop for today's session. So now you'll see checking the active status. Now the examples that you are seeing here, they are not exactly what we are going to do in our network automation. Our main agenda for today's session was to understand the data types that we have in Python. So you can see that we have the data types in Python, right? These type of data types. Now, since you understood the data types, then to how to utilize this in a program, that's why I have created such a small script. And these are my scripts. This I created for our class. If you go and read any Python book, so they will start with the legacy Python, programming, like they will start adding, multiplying different type of number. Since we are focused on network, so the scripts that you are seeing here, I have added the name like port speed. I can add anything like A equal to 1.0 and B equal to 48, and then C equal to A into B, and then print C. So if you read Python book, they will go and use variable name as A, B, C. What I have done, simply A, B, C, I replace with port speed, total ports, and so logic is the same, A, B, C, D. But here I just renamed those variables, those things in our term, like in networking term. That's the difference you have, right? So this also you can go and create in other format as well. For example, Harry Potter equal to true. If Harry Potter, like, so Harry Potter is true. If no, then false. Anything you can put. So I put like, switch is active, switch is inactive, but it can be anything. You are going to purchase something from uh, some mall? Yes, no. You want to learn Python? Yes, no. Like, these are the conditions, right? And those conditions that you have in the programming language that you want to use in our network. That is a small domain, but these are the logics condition can be used anywhere. So for example, VLAN equal to this, maybe items equal to milk, vegetable, bananas, mangoes, apples, right? And then you want to print the items in items. So it will go and print bananas, mangoes, vegetables, milk, You can understand this thing, right? But since we are doing networking, programming networking, then I have added VLANs and this structure, because if you understood like this, then later on it will be easier to understand these things, right? To understand those things. So let's understand one by one. Slowly, we'll go and understand this. So I'm going to write these 2 scripts again. Condition is true. Is active, like obviously we are talking about switch. So switch is active. So if still we haven't means we haven't discussed about the conditions. We have full-fledged sessions related to if, else, for, if, else, if, while loop, and all those loops and conditions. At this point of time, just to understand the variables and the data types and the items and expressions and the print statement, I have added these small examples. If and else, they are very easy type of condition. If this will happen, okay, else print this. This is a condition, if else. If not, else. So is active. So now you can see that we are setting the condition is active is true. That means it will go and print which statement? This one or this one?
First,
First one, because is active. So it will match this condition, and then it will print this, will execute this program. Apart from that, you can see that we are using the for loop here. For loop. And I will go and add the other example as well here. for VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, and then you are using this in a for loop. For loop means first it will read 10, then 20, then 30, and then 40. And then it will go and print this in a sequence like configuration VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, etc. So let's do this. Let's do one by one. Let's go to the section. What we want to do here is active, true. Then what you want to do is active. What you want here. And see, you are using some condition here, right? It's very important. If you are using some condition, you have to give this colon, semicolon, right? Because otherwise it will throw error. So I will show that error as well. And then there is one concept of called indentation. So after any logic, any condition, you have to go and give 4 spaces, or at least the spaces that you can. So the program will understand you are writing something below this line, below this condition. So generally we are giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 spaces. Then I can go and print. I can go and print what I want to print here, any condition. Match. I'll come to that. And then if this is not happening, then else statement, print. Wait a minute. Do not match. So first of all, if I go and run this program, it will throw error. Why? Let's see. If it is telling if expected colon, you should go and give colon here. Now you can see match. Now if you go and make this false, false. So it is going to this line, right? Do not match. Simple condition, right? If and else you can give. If this will match this, if this will not match this. So that's the condition, that's the logic. If this is not. Like that you can go and define, right? Easy and straightforward. Any doubt in this?
Mm.
Okay, so I'll go and comment this also. So we can go and write the next line program that is related to VLAN. So for example, you have a list for VLANs. What you want to define 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever, any number, 40, 50, 60, whatever. Then the loop condition you want to match for print VLAN. I want to print the VLAN. That's the name, print VLAN. Or you can give anything, I, K, J, F, Y, anything. Where in VLANs from this list, right? It should be like something like VLANs. And then what you want to do? See if I enter here, it is coming directly here because this is Visual Studio. It is knowing that we have to go and give the spaces, 4 spaces, white spaces after the condition. So what you want to print? I want to print the VLANs. Should not use this. I want to print the VLANs, but you have to print this print VLAN, right? I'll go and add some nice things there, but let's go and run this program first. Then we'll go and add some other things. So you can see 10, 20, 30, 50, etc. Now you can go and use the functions here that we are using earlier. And then you want to configure the VLAN, say configure the VLANs, and then what you can do here, you can put this within the parenthesis like this, and you can give like this and save this. Now you can configure the VLAN 10, 20, 30, or maybe configure the VLAN 10, 20, 30, 50, etc. Right? Now, if I go and add some log here and show IP route, show IP OSPF neighbor, show log, right? And then I can go and use this copy paste. So print logging, for example, within the log, and print the logging, and what we want to print. And I'll do one thing, print. You can go and give, say, /n here, new line character, or if you give /n twice, 2 new line characters. And if you want some tab, you can give /t tab, etc. Just to give some spaces in between the output. So you can go and print this. Now you can see the output here. See the output. So printing this, and then you are printing the logging, right? So this is what? This is very much like integer, but still we are printing as a character value, some string value, right? And this is also this is actual string, but the difference in list you can see clearly that you have to define within double quotes, because after show you have some space, after IP you have some space. So if you do not do like this, it will not understand, program will not understand this, right? Any doubt so far? So now you have created your 30 lines script. And if I remove all those things, you are getting all the output. So what I have done in the last script, last example that we have, I have added all those points in one. Oh, it's like not like that. It is little bit more complicated. You can see switches connection. This is related to drawing the topology. So if you have topology that switch 01 connected to switch 02, switch 02, switch 03, like that. But everything I have defined here in the list itself. Now you can see this list is little bit complex. This list, you have 2 in a group. In this list, you can see you have switch 01, switch 02. This is one entity. Then 01 and 03, they are within same bracket. And then 0203, they are in the same bracket. Then we are printing the network topology. The same condition we are using that we have used earlier in this. So how it is that for connection in connections, that means you are calling this here with this quote, and then you are printing connection 0. 0 means this one, and 1 means this one. So what this will print, this will go and print that switch 01 is connected to 02 in first loop. In second loop, it will go and print switch 01 is connected to 03. And in third loop, it will go and print switch 02 is connected to switch 03. This, and this. This will be the output, expected output. Right, this example I will leave for you for your practice, because anyways the script is there. You have to go and understand the logic and you have to
Mm.
execute it, right?
Ranesh, Ray is in the lobby asking for request.
Let me stop the recording. Thanks for joining. Let me write. Today is day number 2. And first of all, what we'll do that we'll go and complete the day 1 topics. Last time we are doing, and we stop at this point, that modules, function and functions in modules and functions in Python. So what does it mean? We'll go and understand that, and then we'll continue our unit number 2, modules and functions. What we want in any programming language, we want modularity. Why we want modularity? Because we want to define different type of functions, different type of features within the modules, and these modules, these functions, you can go and call within the main program. So idea here is this, that you have one big program, but that big program is divided into a small chunks, and whenever you want, you can call those small functions within the main function. So in this case, you can go and maintain the modularity in the program. So tomorrow, if you have to go some change, if you have to do some change, you will go to any of the function or module, and there you will do the changes. You will not, that will not impact the main program. So you can see the definition. A module is a file containing Python code that can define as a function class variables. Like this is a program which can be, which is independent, means it's an independent function that you can call within the main function. You can import the modules. I can write some piece of code and I can import, or there are inbuilt functions modules as well that I can import as a package. So you can see, if I can go and import function called maths, if I am doing some mathematical operation, I can import a function called math, and then I can run within the main program. All these examples I will show you. Or I can go and define my own function. So I am creating one function called greet, and there I am printing hello, welcome to networking classes. And then whenever I will call this function, what will happen? This print statement will get executed. So all the time, if you have to type this print statement, you will not, you are not going and writing this print statement, rather than you will go and call this function. Right. So that's the example of the modularity. The modules that you can create and call within a function, or it may be some inbuilt Python packages that you can call within the main program, and that will work as it is. Right. So now when you creating the functions, so suppose I have one function called configure VLAN. In that, you can go and put the parameters and pass the arguments. So parameters, you can see configure VLAN, and then you are giving the parameters like VLAN ID, VLAN name, VLAN ID, suppose VLAN ID 10, name sales. So if you go and give 10 and name such as a sales, so that will be the argument. So parameters are the variables, right? And arguments are the values. So these two names that you are seeing here, these are the variable, these are the placeholders. And then if you put some value here, that will be your argument. Those are the values. So here you can see in the example that we are defining one function called configure VLAN. We are giving two variables here as a parameter. And then I have this print statement, configure VLAN. VLAN, for example, whatever value you will give, VLAN 10, and the name, for example, management. So if you go and call this function, what this function will do, this function, Suppose if I have one main function, in that main function, if I go and call this function, so what this function will do, this function will go and take a place of this and this. So it will go and execute this printf statement, but in that printf statement, you will see configure VLAN ID number 10 and VLAN name management that will get printed. So these examples, I am going to show you these examples today in the lab, so don't worry about that. Flow of execution is what? You are defining a function. That function you can call within the main function, and in the main function you can call these small modules or functions with the value that you want to execute. So that's the flow of execution we have. It's very easy and straightforward. I'm going to show you one lab example related to this. So here you can see that we have one big lab here. In this lab, now seems it looks like this is a big lab, but you will see that we are going to call same thing again and again and again. So I'm defining one function called configure VLAN. Configure VLAN, you can see the header here, or you can see the function definition here. So I'm defining a function configure VLAN, where I am putting the parameters. So I have three parameters: switch name, VLAN ID, VLAN name. These are the variables. So you may have n number of variables in that, right? So function, and then the variables, or in other words, parameters, to configure VLAN, switch name, VLAN ID, VLAN name. You're giving this semicolon here because this is your function. So the program will understand that this is my function. And after that, what you want in this function. So after some spaces, this is nothing but indentation. After some spaces, you want to print, or what you want to print: configure VLAN on switch name, configure, and then VLAN ID. So for example, 10, VLAN name, for example, sales, and then configuration completed. Now this particular configuration I want to do for switch 101, 102, 110, like we have three switches in our network topology, in our network, in our switching network. So now you can see here that I have one function called configure VLAN. This function I will call within the setup network. And now you can see setup network, set the network. This is again a function without any parameter. This is a function where I will go and call this function again and again and again and again and again and again. So 6 times I am going to call this function within this function, right? Within this function, I am going to call this function 6 times. 6 times. That means 6 into 3. How many lines you have here? How many print lines you have here? Print line 1, 2, 3. So whenever I will call this function, these 3 print statement will get executed. If I am calling this function 6 times, that means 6 into 3. That means 18 print statement I will get, right? So you can see I'm calling configure VLAN switch 101 10 management, configure VLAN switch 101 20 HR. Likewise, switch 102 10 and 30, switch 110 10 and 40. So like that, what I will do, I will go and call this function. Now with this example, you will understand that how we can create the modularity in a function. Not only that, this is the way that you can go and execute the program. Actually, finally, you have to go and call some main function. That also I will show you. Actually, you can go and define function, no problem. Function, say function A, like this, function B, function C, and then you should go and define the main function where you can go and call function A, function. It's up to you. You are calling only 2 functions, or you are calling the all functions or one function, etc. But generally in the programming, we are defining the main function as well, where we are calling all the functions that I will show you today in the example. But this will also work. This will also get executed Once you execute this, oh yeah, I can see I have shown the main function as well. So now you can see that I am defining the main function as well. In the main function, you can see the main function, what I am doing. So main function, I am calling only this function, right? And that's the beauty we have with the programming. So in the main function, what a statement I have? Print, start network setup. Then I am calling this setup network. What is this setup network? Setup network having 6 functions. So we are calling within function, within main function, we are calling the setup network, and within the setup network, we are calling the configure VLAN 6 times and then complete. And then this is the way we are writing our main function. So if name equals to main, we are calling the main function here. So you can see when this line will get executed, it will call the main function. Now within main function, we are calling the setup function. Within the setup function, we have 6 configure VLAN, and then the output will get executed. And then you have all the explanation here. So what I will do here, let me quickly go and execute this program. Let's build this program, right? So let me pull my automation. Oops, what I'm pulling here, automation server. And from there, we can go and build the program. So here I have my lab that I want to, oops, build. So what I want to define, first of all, I want to define configure VLAN, right? Configure, because I open those programs here. I have actually those programs. You can see on from top, I can navigate. So the program is condition. Let me go here. Let me show you the program. So one function, yeah, you can see one F, that's the function.py. This is the program, right? Anyway, let's go and write that program. So from top, I can go to the test page where I will create the program and I'll delete as well. But all these programs are already shared with you that you can go and work on these programs. So my test, it's hard to get that break, and I should get that program. Okay. Yeah, test.py where I'll go and define my function. So what is that configure? VLAN is my function. In that function, I want 3 arguments: the name of the switch, the VLAN ID, and VLAN name, like that. So let's go and define it. Say, for example, name of the switch, switch name, then VLAN ID, then VLAN name. Once you create this, you should give this colon. Let me increase the font size. Okay. Now, when you're writing next line, you can see your next line should have some indentation. So after define from here, if you use Visual Studio, so they will take care of all these parameters, right? Now, what you want here, you want to print, right? You want to print what you want to print. Say configure VLAN for switch, and then you have to give the switch name, right? Switch name. It is taking care of all these things, right? Oops. And you can close the parenthesis. Then what you want to do? VLAN ID colon. That should be VLAN ID, right? enter. Finally, print a statement that you can go and give this a VLAN name. So VLAN name, and then the VLAN name, right? So this is the function. You can see the function where we are defining a function, right? Where we are putting the parameters, and then we have this print statement. So now if I go here, and for example, I'm just showing you that if I go here and call configure VLAN, so switch 101 10 MGMT, and if I go and run this, that is, so why we have this error? Because this is the name. You should give this within the,
It's not a string there.
yeah, like this, like this. So I can see configure VLAN for switch. I should give some space or some colon or something here. So like that means you will start small, and so configure VLAN for switch 101, then VLAN ID, like that you can give some colons and all those things like. So your output should look little bit better. So configure VLAN for switch 101, VLAN ID 10, and then name management, like that, right? So here, what is our task? That we should go and create some setup function where we can go and call these, and then we can set up VLAN 10, 20. Like I have one list of VLAN that I want to create, and according to that, I should go and work on that. So this is one example that where you can go and call the function. But here I have to create one more function, setup network. And in this, I want to call, what I want to call the configure VLANs with different values, right? So suppose switch 101, and now the logic is clear. What's the VLAN ID? For example, 10. And what's the name? For example, 10 is sales, right? Now I can have 101, for example, 20 is MGMT. So 10 is sales, 20 is MGMT. And then I'll go make this as a 2. Make this as a 2. I have 10, but then I, for example, just to make some changes, HR. And then, for example, I have 20 and 30. 20 is MGMT and 30 is HR. Like that, I have with different switches 1, 0, and so now you can see that I created one setup network where I have called this particular function 6 times, but for different switches. For switch 101, this, right? And just to make sure that things are correct, if I can go ahead and call the setup network, so now you'll see here that we are getting the output for switch 101, 10, 101, 20, like that. We have the output, right? No problem on that. But generally what we are doing, that these things we are calling within the main function. So now what you have to do, you have to go and define a main function where you should go and call these functions. So let's go and define the main function. I have one main, and this is the format. So later on in the other examples, you will see that we have some format where we are working. So what you want in the main function, I want to start this network exercise. Start the network configuration VLANs, right? Then what you will do? Here you can go and call the setup network, right? In the main. And then you can go and give the printf statement that you want to end the task. And if you want, you can give /n, that new line character or something, right? Let's see if some error will come, we'll see. Then finally, the closing of the main means calling of the main. This is the way that we are actually closing. So if name equals to main, we can't do anything. This is the format. If name equal to main, since you have the if, so you should give some space here 4 times at least. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then call the main, right? Now we have one full-fledged program that we built from scratch. We check the function, then we call function within function. This also we have done the check, and then finally we have the main function. So if we go and try to execute this function, let's see. Yeah, you should give the colon here. Some syntax error will come, no problem. So now you see that we are running this and it is not printing any output. What's the reason?
The main function is not being called somehow.
Main is not coming here. Okay. Okay. This is correct. Where is the problem?
I guess it's in the condition in the if, but I'm not sure why we are using that name.
Okay. So condition name if name equal to main.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
there
I
we are.
I
Okay,
don't
no
get
problem.
that part.
This this is something like it is there. Like let's go here. What I'm telling that this is the way that you have your functions defined, not into one dot. Yeah, here you can see. So this is that you have to go and define like this only. Okay. You have to define this. There is no other option. So everything is same seems, but this main, maybe some issue here in this line, but no problem. Let's go back to our test function where we have that test. There we have. Is there any difference that we have? Let me see. Should be the same, right?
You have extra lower uh, dash on
Yeah,
the main.
underscores. Yeah, there's more underscores.
Yeah,
Yeah, so see, that's the
yeah.
reason. You have to give like here we have given 2. Okay, but you understood the issue, right? So let's go and execute this, and what it will do, main will call the setup network, setup will go and call the configure, and then you have the output like this, right?
I'm sorry. What was the issue before?
Yeah, this extra underscores here.
Oh,
Earlier, you will see that we have only one, this.
wow.
So
And
it was,
why you have to put two underscores?
it's like just a
That was
format, just programming format. So sometimes you have such type
okay.
of syntaxes, yeah.
Okay.
But this is the way we are defining the main function. Even if I go and these things, even if I go and simply call this also, like, if I remove this, and if I go and run this also, it will work, right? You'll get the output. You're getting the output. But this is the, like, format, the way that we have the functions, because later on we'll go and define the main function. There also we'll put some line entries, some conditions, so it will work. All right, good job. So let's move on, and I hope that you understood this modularity, functionality, parameters, arguments within the Python programming. Let's move on, and let's go to unit number 2, where we have to learn, understand about different type of conditions. So here you can see the Boolean values, the operations, the if-else, the for loop, while loop. Like that, I have created some examples here that we'll go and learn slowly. We'll start with the small conditions, and then we have some big lab as well in this section. So conditions, when we are talking about condition, you can see it's very easy, right? If else, if this, otherwise this. So if this, else this, right? If this is matching, do this. Like, it's like condition. If this, else if this. Like, if this is happening, it's matching, then okay, print this. If this is not happening, then print this. Again, if it is not happening, print this. Like, you have multiple options in a program, right? If you have multiple options, then you can go and use the if else condition. So here you can see that we have not only if and if else. So if is one condition, if else is one other logical condition, and then we have if elif else, right? So if you have more options like that is not fulfilling with if else, we can go with elif else. So conditions are there that will go and execute in a program. Then if we have the loop, if you want loop in a condition, so you have while loop, for loop, like you want to print 10 numbers. So n equal to 10. N start with 1 plus 1. Print n. So it will go print 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that. We'll check that, the looping condition. So while loop, for loop, although they are the loop, while loop and for loop is something like this, that match with some condition until run the loop. If it will go and match that condition, then loop will break. You will go and stop, right? And now suppose if we are stuck in some loop and you want to break from there, like, forcefully break. So you can go and use the break condition. And suppose you know that in your program something will happen, that your program will exit, but still you want to continue the program, then you can go and use the continuous statement. The continuous statement skips the rest of the code inside the loop for the current iteration and jump into the next iteration. So likewise, we have the conditions, and you will understand these conditions with the example. So here you see the if condition. We have a uh, we have the list here, list of switch here. You can see that switch 101 status is active, and that switch having VLAN 10 and 20. So this is also a list within list. This is a nice example that we have list within list. We know that list you are defining with this bracket, right? But if you have list within list, so you can go and define like this. So switch 101 status active. You can think as a key and value. Key and value. Generally, key value pairs, they are coming with dictionary, but dictionary will check later on. We have the data structure, data type called dictionary that we'll discuss later. But here you can see that we are defining a list that we have the key and value. We have key and multiple values, right? Wheel and 10, 20, etc. Because this is list within the list. So we have this inventory here. Switch 101, 102, 110, and then we are putting the condition, if condition. So we have one function, check switch status, give the switch name. This is what function. In function, how? Define name of the function and then the parameter. Now you will see that this function, we are putting the if condition. If switches, where is the switches? Right? Switch name. Now here you have the condition, switch name, and then the status. If it is active, then print, else inactive. So now suppose if you want to check the status of 101 and 102, clearly we'll see 101 is active and 102 is inactive. That means if I go and run this condition, so for this function, check switch status 101, if I go and execute this function, this will go and print the if statement. Why? Because if active, then print this statement. If not active, then print else statement. For 102, what is the status of 102? 102 is inactive, right? So it will go and print the inactive statement. That is the second one. Understanding this logic, you have any problem? This is one of the example, because since I have
Makes sense to
created
me.
this, yeah, these exercises that I have created with related to networking, switches and all those things, but it is true with any logic. Any logic means instead of switch active, or you can give some other condition. For example, a library maths book. So if in your library maths book is there, then your library is good. Otherwise, it's not good. Like that, just any type of logical conditions also you can give. But this is just the condition. If this will match, it will go and print this statement. If this will not match, then it will go and print the other X statement, just like that, right? All right, so let's go and run this program. We can comment these lines, and then we can create a list within list, inventory, switches. Because my program, they are open in other editors, so I'm getting some context help. If I type some character, it will give me the option that what you want to do. So I want to create the inventory, and in that inventory, I want to put, say, switch 101, and with this switch, what I want, status condition I want to give. So status, that condition is also active. And then I want to check the VLANs. So I can give a comma here, VLANs, and that VLANs, that is list within list. So for that, you can go and give, say, 10 and 20. Something like this. So now if I have one switch condition like 10, 20, I can go and create for 3 different switches, 101, 102, and 110, and I can change this like 1030 for example, and maybe 40 and or maybe 2040, something like that. So this is my inventory for the switches that you can see here. Switches status active and all those condition, and then we are closing the parenthesis. Now what we want to define a function. So let's define a function. In this function, what we want to match, check switches, because I have this program open so I can get all these names. What you want, switch name, right? You can say switch name function with the parenthesis. Then next line, we want to put conditions like if match this, else this. So if on top we have the switches, and in this what I want to match, the switch name, right? And then the status of the switch equal to condition, then we should give this. If then we want to print this is live or something, so print, oops, what you want to print, the switch name is active. Now we should have like, if some error will come, we'll come and check where it is coming, like where we can go and improve the program. Some parenthesis, some problem. Else print. Same thing I'll go and use. Else print the switch name is inactive. Right. And then, for example, we'll go and give check switch name. Check the switch status for that. Switch 101. Let's see. Yeah. So you see some problem, some comma, some error, but it is telling which line? Line number 27. So let's go and see the inventory that we have created having some issue. So where is that? Let's try to find out, and then if we'll find the issue here, we'll find the issue in the other lines as well. Switch.
I think is the comma at the end of each line. I know
Yeah.
because I see in the example.
Yeah, here you
Yeah.
can
Not
see
because I know.
in the, it is telling forget comma. You can see? Perhaps
Yeah,
you
it's a
forget a
comma.
comma.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it is
There.
telling that you forget a comma because then it is taking everything in one line. And in the list we have the
And another comma in the last line.
comma. So now, because this is the last one, even you can give any, it's up to you. Even if I give comma also, there is no problem. And if it, because this is last line, so it's okay. So now you can see that, oops, it is executing the program. Let me save this. Switch is active. So likewise, if I go and call one more program here, and that program, if I go and give us 2 in next line, right? And, let's try this. Switch 2 is also active. Why? Because if I go and make condition like inactive, and then if I go and run this program, so active. The point here is this to show you that if is printing and then else statement is getting printed, right? Good, great. So let me do one thing. Where is my first program? Functions. I created this program, so I can go and modify this. I can go to my test. This we are creating. So what I'm telling here is, I can go and print start network checkup. Network checks completed, and then I have one, say, checkup network. Should define this. Okay, so let me do def so within main function, we are calling checkup network, and then the main function, like, we should write program like this within main function, defining the programs and all. So now you can see that start network checkup, active, inactive, network checks completed, right? So you can see that what we have done, that we have the list. This is actually some sort of, you can think as a global variable you are defining. In globally, if you define something within the function, that will be local variable. But if you define the function outside, if you define any variable outside, that will be global variable. We'll see that this example later on. So we have some list that we are calling within the functions. Then we have one function which we can go and club the other functions. And then in the main function, we are calling only one function. And then we are executing the main function. Right. So like that, you can go and build the, a script. Even I have this here as well. Here, from here also I can copy paste. But you can understand, right, how things we can go and club together. Let's continue our study and let's see some more examples. This was the example related to if condition, if else condition. Then you can see here that we have example related to if else. If switch is active, switch inactive, else is active, like it's like if else switch we have. Again, it's okay, you use such type of condition, but I gave you one more extra example here that you can go and check. Then next we have if-else. We'll understand this logic. So we know that we have this list here. Then we have the condition. In this condition, what we have? Configure VLAN. Now we have two parameters here, switch name and VLAN ID. Okay. Then condition, you will see the conditions. If switch name not in switches, switch name not found. That switch is not found. Means we are searching the switch name in the switches. Not found. Else, VLAN ID in switch name VLANs. VLAN ID already configured on the switch. So you have the condition like, searching the switch, checking the VLAN ID, and then finally, because you have multiple values here, so checking the switch name and then the VLAN. So if-elif, else, if this and this condition is not found, if neither the switch nor the VLAN ID, then you can go and print some other condition. Now, switch name, VLAN, append. If that VLAN ID is not found, then you are adding the VLAN to the switch, right? So suppose if I go to switch 101, you can see we have 10 and 20. So 10 and 20 is there in this list. So if I call this, it will not run this. What it will do, first of all, it will go and search switch 101. It is found, then it will go and execute this statement, right? Because already this switch is there in the switch list. If it is not there, say if it is not there, then execute this line, then come out from the program. So if this will not match, what it will do, it will go to next line where VLAN ID in switches VLAN, it will find VLAN 20, then it will print VLAN 20 already configured in switch 101. This statement will execute. VLAN 20 is already in switch 101. Now, if you go and call 110, right? 110. In 110, do you have VLAN 50? You don't have, right? You don't have VLAN 50. Since you do not have VLAN 50, then first of all, you have the switch, so this will not get executed. This will not get executed because you don't have VLAN 50. Then it will go to the last statement, that is else statement, where it will go and append. We are using one function called append the VLAN ID. So once you go and append the VLAN ID, then it will go and append VLAN 50. So then print VLAN ID. What is that? 50 added to switch. So it will print VLAN 50 added to switch. So this condition will come with this function, and this condition will come with this, right? Like that we have the logic here. Else, else if, else condition. Oof, difficult, right? But no problem. What I have done, that's why I have tested these examples already. And you can see here, you have this, and then you have the full-fledged condition. While creating the condition, here you don't have the colon. Colon you have here and else here, because after else you don't have any function. So then you are writing the conditions, like calling, writing the conditions here, and then you're calling the functions. Understanding this particular program, obviously once you practice, then you will become better. But this is the program. If I go and run this at Python, .ex, let me execute from the folder, that to _c. So now we'll see the output. With this function, elif will executed, and with this function below, the else condition will get printed. Right? We're going to take only two more examples, while and for, and then we'll stop. But you can see, I created these examples like, networking examples. So tomorrow when you will go and build, so tomorrow what you have to do, you have to go and connect to the switch. So I have to go and import some packages on the top, like, netmiko, paramiko. But nowadays no one is using those packages, netmiko, paramiko, etc., etc. Everyone is using APIs, REST APIs. So I have to go and use some import, request, etc., some API calls on top, and then I will go and use some URL method like HTTP method to configure the devices. So on that on on those cases, I will go and connect to the devices, live devices in the network. I'll go and connect those devices, but the conditions that you are seeing here, they will be the same in those programs as well. So if you are understanding these things, these are the actual logic within the program. What I need to do here, I need to connect and check. Here, for example, here I have given you the inventory, but in the live type of connections and Python programming, my program will check these switches and the VLAN while logging to the devices, and then you will match these conditions, right? But these conditions will be as it is. So for example, switch name is not in switch. This is one condition. Switch name is not in the switch. Then print this. Why? Because if you go and call, for example, if I go and add one more function, so for example, configure VLAN, say switch 201, right? 40, the last statement, 201 not found. Why? Because this is matching the first condition, the first if condition, which is not found. Then, so likewise, you can see this statement is what? VLAN, elif. Then, because how we are calling the function. So first, it is checking this. Obviously, if I go here, cut this, then it will go and reverse the output, right? Because it will go and match the first function first. So this is the if condition, this is the elif condition, and this is the else condition. If, elif, else, like that it is printing the programs, right? All right, let's take two more examples and then we'll stop. We'll not overdone the sessions. While loop. Again, I have this inventory while monitor switches, iteration 0. While see the condition, while will come with the condition. So you can define the function and you define one variable. This variable is local variable. Remember, if you define this variable outside the function, that will be global. This is local variable. You want to give some loop condition. Iteration equal to 0 means you are initializing the variable with 0. Now, if it is less than 3 means what? 0, 1, 2 means 3. Less than 3 means it will check 0 and 1 and 2, right? 0, 1 and 2. Then, so now you can see print, iteration plus 1. Now, within while we are putting the for loop. For switch in switches, print monitor switch. First of all, it will go and print the first switch and the status and add. So this loop will run for 0 time, 1 time and 2 time, like total 3 times it will go, and finally it will go and print. So what you are doing when you'll go and call this function, so when we are calling this monitor switch function, then this loop will run for 3 times. In that you are printing iteration. So iteration 1, first iteration. Within the while loop, we are putting the for condition, switch in switches. We are monitoring the switch status. Switch status is what? Active. So monitoring switch 101, which is status, switch status. So it will print like monitor switch 101 status active. Then monitoring switch 102 status inactive. Monitoring switch 110 switch status active. Like that it will go and print, because you have condition within condition. Once it will go and reach to the number 2. At the moment it will go and check that less than 3. Third time this is running, then it will go and exit from the loop. Means 3 times it will run, 4th times it will exit from the loop. Once we'll go and call this function. So here you'll see that we have the while condition. And you can go and run that. So iteration, you can see iteration, printing the iteration. It is printing the iteration, interesting thing. It is printing 0 plus 1, that means 1. So this is the third loop actually you have. This is something that third time when it is running, then we are getting the output. So what I'm telling here is this, that if I go here and print, say if I go and print, print me, just to show you this. Let's try to understand this. See, that was the last iteration. So you can see first time, second iteration, third iteration. Why? Because within this condition, this for loop will check all three. First, this for loop will come out, because you have loop within loop. So your loop within loop will exit, right? And then it will check the while. So the while iteration you can see here, that is running 3 times. You can see print me 3 times. Iteration 1, 2, 3 iterations it is running. While loop, you have for loop running once, 2, and thrice, and that's why you have increments here. So check while condition once and second and third, and then it will print the output, right? Then we have the last condition here. It's very practical. Later on in the examples in the lab, you will see these condition again and again and again. So again, you have the switches. Now you can see that you have for loop. What you want? Display the switch info. How you want to display? I want to display the switch info. You can see for switch info in switch.items, right? Switch.items. You want to print switch status VLAN. It will go and print the switch. What's the name of switch? 101. Status is active. VLAN is 1020. So this is flat for condition, and this type of example you will see again and again in the programming in the upcoming days. So if you go and execute this program, easy, straightforward program, that it will go and run the switch status VLAN. So you can see switch status and VLAN, and this loop will print till the condition will match, till it will go and check the inventory. It will go and run this. If I can go here and add one more switch here, for example, 201, some other VLAN name. Obviously, it will go and add that in the loop as well. So you can see it will go and add so 201 as well, which status and the VLANs. All right, so this was the looping condition. You have to work and practice on these, because as time progresses, these things will become little bit more lengthy, but logic will be the same. Whatever lines of configuration you have, your for loop, your while loop, your conditions will be like this only. They are not going to change, right? Thanks for joining. Today is day number 3, but still we are somewhere in unit number 2, and we were doing for loop. So what we have done, we checked the conditions, and in condition we completed up to for loop. we have to complete 2 more condition, break and continue. And then in unit number 3, we have to learn about functions and array. So let's move on. These things we have done, comments and basic, how you're writing the basics of the Python program. These are very important because later on you have to create big programs where you will go and import the module, import the functions, functions within functions. Those calls will be there. Then we are going to use different type of conditions like while condition, for loop condition, if else conditions. And sometimes we are using this break and continue condition as well. We want to break the program or we want to continue the program if something will match. So those conditions are also important. But generally you will see that mostly we'll go and use modules functions. Mostly we are going to use for loop, while loop and if else condition in our program. And this is a special type of structure. This is the dictionary where you have the key and value pair. So you can see that status, that's the key, value active. VLAN is the key, value 1020. And this is a type of dictionary. So list and dictionary, you will see later on, we'll get the data structure where we have the list and dictionary. Dictionary is something which is used for complex type of data structure. So those things will come. This if else condition will come for sure in almost all the programs. Then your either while loop or for loop will come in most of the programs in upcoming days. After that, we have 2 more in this unit, that is break, how to use this break loop and how to use the continue. Let me open my Visual Studio. Here it is. And we are in the module number 2. Oh, this is showing 1. So let me close. This test is okay. I want to use this test file. And I'm writing those functions programs. Okay, so let's go to this file and open folder. This open folder, let me point to unit 1 and 2. And then in unit number 2, break and continue these 2 programs. All right, so here you can see
Because
that,
these programs are already available in the chat drive.
yes, I have already
Okay.
uploaded all the programs. Yeah. All right, so here you can see that we have this dictionary. We have this dictionary. In other words, you can think this as your inventory. Now, important thing about this inventory is that this inventory that you are saving somewhere as a Excel file, you can save this dictionary as a text file, or you are fetching these inventory online as well. Online means that you will go and write a code. Your code, your piece of code will go and connect to ITSM tool where you have all these inventory already there as a source of truth, SOW. And you can connect to ITSM tool, right? And from there you can get this information. So this information can be offline, can be online, right? So once you have this information, then what you want to do with that information, what is your target, right? So your target is to print the active devices, inactive devices, print the VLANs, like that. You may go use different type of operations. So for example, you want to check the ACLs are correct or not in 1000 devices. In all the 1000 devices, when you are pushing the ACL access control list, then those ACLs are configured properly or not in all the devices. So you can write a automation program that will go and contact all the 1,000 devices, log into the 1,000 devices one by one, and then it will go and check SNMP configuration, ACL configuration, other configuration that you want to validate that these configuration are correct or not. And after that, this program will go and print a report, and it will tell you that in this device 4 lines are missing, in this device 3 lines are missing. So for that you need this type of inventory where you can go and log in one by one. It may be there in ITSM, it may be there somewhere directly also. You can log into the devices. It's up to the program, it's up to the requirement how we are connecting to the devices. And then you have to go and use the conditions. So after that, what exactly we want to print, so we can go and use the conditions. Like that, you will see this is just a small program, but the bigger programs also you will understand that how we are using the variables, how we are connecting to the database, and then using the condition and printing the result, right? We'll check that later on, those things. So here in the break condition, what it is, simply you can see that we are defining one function, find first active switch. The logic for this program is this, that it will find first active switch, and then we have this break condition. That means after that program will not run. So you can see the condition for switch in switches. It will go and check all the switches in the switches. Switches is what? This is your switches inventory. Then within for you have the if condition. If switch status is active, you don't need this line, but you can print. If switch status is active, break. At the moment it will find that there is some active switch, it will go out. So suppose I'll make this inactive, and then you are calling the function. So you can see here, if I can go and run this program to F break, nothing is printing. So I should find first switch. Okay, so
Que yo remove the print line, no? Gotcha.
yeah, the point here is this, that they should go and print this line, the line number 3, switch 110, right? And if we go and make active this line active, so it will go and print the first line. So point here is this, at the moment it will go and hit this condition, it will break. Right? Any doubt in this logic?
What if
No, no,
what
no
if
for me.
none of the switches are active? All of them are inactive. Will show nothing.
Yeah, the condition will not match, so it should go out. Let me make all this statement inactive. Simply it is coming out. It will not print anything. Now,
Just don't do nothing.
yeah, so this condition is like something that we are doing some troubleshooting. Within that, suppose we have 400 lines of code, and you want to check something in between that. So you can use these conditions like break and continue. Generally, we are using these conditions while testing the piece of code within bigger code, and we want to break from that point of time. So anywhere in the program, if the condition will match, you can come out. That's the logic of this program. Break. Now reverse to this is continue. What this continue will do, that it will continue. So if we have this condition active, so at the moment it will match active, it will continue. At the moment it will find, oh, active, continue, like that. So it will go, actually this program, you can see a status is active, continue, it will print that until it will find that the conditions are active. So it will continue. This is just the reverse, and this is one of the very interesting thing that we used to put in the programming. See, we have multiple options that we don't want to exit the program. Later on in this section, you will learn error handling, how you can handle the error. So suppose if you are testing your program and your program is coming out like, your program is not completing, you are not getting the desired result, then you will try to put some error handling. Means you want to know at which particular point what is the error that my program is exiting. It is not completing. So you can use error handling. Now this continuous statement, when we are running such a program, like we have to go and log into 400 devices. So what is happening in our Python code is this, that if some of the device is unreachable due to any reason, maybe SSH is not configured, maybe that is down, maybe due to some issue, that particular device is not reachable via the program. So what is happening in those lengthy programs, that those programs are exiting automatically. So those program will not continue because my automation script will try to log into that device, and that device is unreachable due to any reason, then program will exit from that point. So on those issues, what we are doing, we use this continuous statement, that even the device is unreachable, continue, go to next device, go to next device, go to next device. So suppose in 400 devices, if 3 or 4 devices are still unreachable, and I don't know, maybe device number 10 is unreachable, maybe device number 300 is unreachable. So my program will continue, it will not break, and it will print the result for remaining 396 devices. It will leave 4 devices, it will continue from there. Right, so these are the use cases for break. Break is something that you will not use, but continue is something that you will use, and error handling is something that you will 100% use in a program. And in our full-fledged program, we'll see that how to use this error handling, and sometimes continue is also useful to know. Okay. Now let's move on to the very important section that we have, that is this is our topology, right? We are using this topology in CCNA as well. That is the unit number 2, functions and array. So what I have done, this is for your task. Whatever we have studied so far, that you study about creating the inventory, then condition, if condition, then if else condition, then if else if conditions, then for loop conditions, then break and continue conditions. All these I have added in one program, and then you can go and print one big program that monitor the devices. So all those programs, you can see this is something like all-in-one, right? And with respect to this topology, the problem in this program is this: we are not logging to the devices at the moment. So far, we are not logging to the devices and getting the result. So far, we have the static entry, and with this entry, we are checking these things, right? Later on, surely we'll log into the devices, but in the production environment, even we are not logging to the devices. In production environment, we are doing automation via vmanage, via DNA, via ITSM. We are not logging to the devices with Paramiko, NetMiko, and all those packages, Python packages, because those are vulnerable scripts. So even the production network will not allow you to install Paramiko, NetMiko. Those are the tools to log into the devices. but those are not secure. So that's why it is recommended when you are doing the automation, connect these devices either via ITSM tools or connect these devices via your SD-WAN or DNA framework, right? So this is one of the program that is like mix of all the programs. You can go and club all those programs and then you can execute it. Now let's move on to the next unit that is also very important and where we are going to learn about functions and array, right? And in this program itself you'll see that we'll learn the concepts of global and local scope. These things are something that will come in our CCNA DevNet real programming when we'll do. These things will come. Function composition will come. Recursion is something that is not that much useful, but we should know the recursion. String use, slices, immutability, string functions, methods, strings modules, Python array, access to the elements in the array and all those things. So this is also very important topic. Actually, all the units that I have created here for our Python training, all these units are important and they are something that will be used together. So unit one, understanding the expression statements, the data types, control flow. Then you can see that functions array. Then you can see list, tuples, dictionaries is also very important. And finally, files, use of files, reading, writing the files, exception handlings, modules and packages. So later on when we go and write the script, we will use all these 5 modules. In our single script, everything will be used. Let's move to the module number. Yeah, unit 3. What is fruitful function? When you define a function that will go and return something, that is nothing but the fruitful function. So here you can see that we have one function, can go and define a function, no problem at all. And if this function will return something, that is fruitful function. Function that is returning some value is the fruitful function. Right? So you can see that define the device check. Let me go and run this. So now we completed this section 2. Likewise, the shared folder, you can go and open that shared folder that we have, unit 3, 4. So like that, you have the
There's
folders. Mhm.
oh, but on the Google Drive is not there, Ranish. The scripts for the Unit 3.
Oh, it's not there. Let me check.
No, it's only
So here you can see the example related to fruitful function. What we are checking here, first of all, is see the definition of function. We want to check the devices, and these devices, what we want, these devices, we want to check that the device status is up or down. Oops, 1 second, what I'm doing. 1 second, just a second. Slide number. One second. Okay, so program, now we know that how to define the function. We know that how to use if and else condition. What it is, what we are checking, if a status is up, so device and a status. If device status is up, it will go and print this is up, otherwise the device is down. And then simply what we are doing, we are calling the function where we have the parameters. In this function we have the parameters. In these parameters we are passing the arguments or values. So the values that we are passing, that R11 up. So when we go and call this function, what it will do, it will go and check the status. Device name is this, it will go and check the status. Status is what? The condition for a status is up. So if it is up, it will go and print this statement. Easy, straightforward, right? So if you go and run this program, you see that it is returning this. Now if you go and make this down, obviously it will go and print the else statement, that it will go and return this. But either it's true or false, right? Either it's matching the condition or it is not matching the condition. It is returning that result, it is returning some value. And later on, whenever we write our program, you will see that we are putting some return value. Generally, as per our curriculum, we have to learn about the API calls. So one function will define one API call, or you will have the nesting of API calls. So on those API calls, you will see that the functions that we are defining, they are returning something. They will go and return some value. And those values, so those output for the API calls will be input for some other API. So nesting of API, mixing of APIs we'll do later on. And there are several methods for that. Now, understanding this particular script, you have any question, any doubt, please feel free to ask.
No, I'm good, but my only comment here is that probably the best approach for to get the down stay there is to actually do it on the bottom, like on the check device status, pair 11 up, put there down, right?
Yeah,
And leave the status on the top up. Because
yeah.
yeah, because
Testing it will do,
that's
and then even you
then
can,
up on the status on the if condition.
yeah. So and switch and so on. See, and since the
Yeah, because it's
condition,
going. Yeah, you have to put
yeah,
up there, right? Yeah.
yeah. So you can leave this as it is, and then you can change the functions. Means how we are calling the functions, we can go and call it, because we have this down. So, but yeah, point here is this, that just to match the condition. So now what it is happening, that return function, so this is returning something, and since we have this print status, so we should go and use this
He
print
only prints
status.
the last one, right? So
Yeah,
you need
so
to.
you should go and put here, and
Yeah.
now it will go and print all the conditions, if else, up down, like that.
The other option there is to use like the status message one, status message two, and print all of those, right?
Yeah, so when we have these functions, like at the moment we are learning the concept, but when we have this function, then even we can go and create menu based program as well. So what we can do, you can see the final that I have created 3.5 here. This 3.5, even we can go and convert this 3.5 as a menu based program as well. Right, I try to add most of the things, checking the program configuration and all. Anyways, we'll see that slowly. At the moment we are just learning that what is the Python and what are the key features we have in the Python. Slowly we will go and check all these things, and obviously later on we can club everything together and make one big program that will solve the purpose. right? Let's move on, no
Okay.
problem, let's move on. So next you can see that how we can go and use this concept of global and local variable. The concept is very easy and straightforward. If something is defining within the function, that will be your local variable. And if something is defined outside the function, that will be your global variable. That's the concept of local and global variable. Let's see there in the slide. Inside a function is a local scope, and while those defined outside the function, that has been the global scope. So it has the global scope. This is global variable. And within the function that when you are defining, it is a local variable, right? So this concept will also come into the picture again and again in the upcoming sections. You will see that when you have to go and work on local and global variables. In our examples also later on, you will see that I have added few things related to local and global variable that will come into the picture later on. You will see that. So but in terms of concept, do you have any doubt understanding what is local variable, what is global variable?
A
No.
local variable can be only called by this function, no? And that's it.
Yeah, just outside the function. So you can see that we have the function here. Actually, we have the function here defined in this 3 lines. So within the function, if you define anything, that will be local variable. Outside the function, if you define, that will be the global variable, right? So if I go and define a equal to 10, right? And then I go and create my function. So define show network status and the device name. How we are defining the function, you know that it will use with this, start with this definition keyword, and then the name, and then the parameter. Then within this function, if I go and define something like b equal to 20, so that will be your local variable. The significance of this variable that we are defining here, that is nothing but the local variable. And this is because outside the scope, so this is nothing but your global variable, right? And then you can print. So if I go and print b, and I have to go and call this function. I'm calling this function show network status, but I should give some device name as well. Let's see. Now we are going to execute this program. Is this program is okay? It will work or it will not work,
It will work. It will print the 20.
right? Now, is this a fruitful function or is it not a fruitful function?
Mm,
For fruitful function, what keyword we are using? Return.
oh yeah.
So if we go and use this keyword return, and then let's go use something here. The for example, just checking that, and then let's say B. A is what? Your global variable. B is what? Your local variable. Print local and global variables. And why it is not returning anything?
You have to, on the last line, you don't have to do like a print and your function.
So when use
Yeah,
print
like that,
here.
right? Well, I think that would work. I don't know.
Let's see. So now you can see that we are
Yeah, it's
returning
working.
something, but we are not printing anything. So that's why it is not working. And in the, yeah, you have to print it. So that's one
Yeah.
thing, that make sure that you are returning something, but you are not printing. So it was not showing anything here in the output. But you can see that the global variable is something that we can call within the function as well. So A is our global variable that we are calling within the function, and B is something that we are defining here locally. This is specific to this particular function only. So we are printing now, you can see that we are returning A and B, and we are printing like this 1020, right? So this is example related to local variable and global variable. Now let's see the function composition. Let's move on. Function composition, combining multiple function to solve a problem. Now this thing we have done, but important thing here is this statement on top. These things we will see in upcoming complex program. That suppose, see, check device status. Where is that? Where is that function? Check device status. First program. So we have this program which is checking the device status and printing the message, right? So this is one of the function, or this is one of the program that is there in the same folder, where I want to create one extra function, get device status, display device status. This is very important program. Let's understand this. So what I am doing, that from fruit1, so I have one program. If you see the program, say fruit1, this program, this Python program having one function. What is this function? Check device status, right? So this check device status program, I am not writing here. See, I have only 10 lines of program here, 10, 12 lines of program. What I am doing, that's from fruit1, I am calling this module, I am calling this function, check device status, right? And then you can see that in my program where I have two functions, define a definition, get device status, display status, right? Get device status, display status. So get device status simply returning that this is up, right? But interestingly, you will see that the display status, that is the function where status equal to get device status. What is that? Device name. We are putting the device name, but what we are returning? We are returning, it's very complicated, but we are returning check device status, device name and status, and then finally we are printing the display status. So let's try to understand the logic. The logic here is that we want to check the device status, right? And this we want to display actually. What's the display? I will explain you, don't worry about this. This is something that is interesting. First of all, let's see what is the issue.
The
No
name of
such
the
file.
file.
Yeah, this is missing. No such file directory. Which file? Line number 3.exe can't open. Oops, what I am doing here. Okay, now you can see. Okay, so R11 is up, R12 is up. Now you will see here why it is happening, because I have changed this program little bit. Anyways, no problem. We'll understand everything. So this function, this algorithm, we are calling from this program because they are in the same folder, so they will call. Otherwise, they will throw error. Now we are defining two functions here. One is get device status. Simply get device status is returning up. It is returning one value up. Even if I don't have this particular function, I can use this as a condition as well within this. This is my main function where I want to display the status with device name. Now this, you can see this particular function, just focus on these three lines. This particular function that we have where we want to check the status, get device status, device name. Now, if I go and put device name, suppose R11 or R12 here, this function, if I go and put some value, right? If I go and put some value, from where it will get the value, you can see the value column, the value field that we have, it is common. So if I go and put 12 here, so whatever arguments you have in this check device status, right? In this return function, like the device name, this device name will go everywhere. Now, in this condition, we have a status as up. Understand this thing. In this condition, we have a status, always we have a status up. We are checking the device is up or not. So it will go and print the status always as a up. Now, although in my inventory, I have R11, R12, R switch 101. Let me go and add one more. So this is my inventory that it will go and call, and this is, suppose for example, this is down. And then I'll go and add one more here, 110, and this is up. This value is up. Now if you go here, you can see here how many ups you have, 1 2 3, and what you are checking in this status field, the status field is up, and device name may be anything. So from this return statement, when I go and call this function, what this function will do? This function is where? This function is this, right? And if you go and use this function itself will go and call these values, right? So let me go and run this first of all. So it is printing these two lines, 11 and 12. While making this little bit complicated for our purposes, so we can understand everything, right? So if I do not match anything, it is matching R11, the first status, and it is coming out. Now I want to match all these. How I can go and match all these? You got my point. So once you go and run this function, what it is doing, that this value, the get device status, it is storing as a status. So this will become what? This will become your local variable. Anyways, you know that a status is what? Is up. So if you do not give this line, if simply you can go and give, say, status equal to up, and if you do not use this function, so it's not like something we are using, it's just to show you here. This is just a placeholder type of thing, like it is returning one value which is up. Now if I remove, I'm not using this condition, you can see I'm not using this condition. Simply what I have done, I have assigned a status as a up, and this up will be used where? It will be used here. And the device name, how it is called, I'm not calling the device name here. So device name is called from this function, the first hit. The first time when we are calling this, it is getting this result coming out. Are you able to understand this? Please feel free to ask. We will add some lines here.
So for the on the last line, if you, on the print, if you change the R12 to the switch, to one of the switch, it will print
Yeah, I mean, so if we go
the status of the
and
switch, right? Yeah, you only change the R12. Yeah, the R12.
yeah, so if we can go and make this 101 and switch 102 and those things, so it should go and check all those conditions. So what up is not defined, the status up is not defined now, because okay, so now you can understand the value of local and global variables. So the status up I have defined as a global variable, and let's see where it is not defined. Let's try to understand this. It is
Up
printing
up should
this. Mhm.
up should be like the stat the on your function there. The status up should be like a string. You have like only test the up under the display status.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that one or the bottom. Yeah,
like this.
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. There you go. Yeah.
we are calling this right now. If we comment these functions, let me go and comment these functions. You can think any other way that we can go and um, continue this program. If we go and use continue, and if we run this program, will it work with the continue keyword? What do you think?
I don't think so because you have to have a like a loop there, like a for or a while to use the continue.
Continue to where?
Okay, so I want to create some loop and then continue.
Yeah, you have to do
Uh,
the loop first. Yeah.
but for that we have to put some condition, right? Like for something and then some condition and then continue. But one thing you can see here, that although it is not showing the continue issue, you can see this is unexpected indent. We have some indentation issue here. It is not because of this continue. I'll come to that condition as well. We'll check that. It's
You
not.
have to create like a list, right? A list with all the devices, the routers and the switches. Then on that list, on this function, call that list with a for, and uh, like, so they can look all the devices.
Yeah, means obviously we can go and put some condition here and then the continue means, continue. If something will happen, like if some error will come, then continue, right? So this continue will work. Those conditions we can put, but are you able to think anything that we do not use all the manual statements and will print everything? Can you think any logic like that? I don't want to give all these things, 11, 12 on all these things, and I want to print. Any logic?
Mm, well, I'm thinking of, like creating a
like a
list.
for, like a for
Yeah,
loop.
for. Yep.
For loop we can create and match some condition as well, but for that we don't have inventory. Now these are the print statements where we are calling the function itself. So that's why this display status is calling actually this, and from this we are executing the lines one by one, right? But yeah, if we have some inventory, then from that inventory we can go and read one by one, and there we can go and put the condition. But don't worry, we will check that. We'll check that later on, where we have the inventory. From that inventory we'll continue that inventory, and from that inventory we'll go and learn certain things. We'll check that. Okay, no problem. But anyways, you can understand this, that within function, so you have two functions here. Actually you have three functions here. You are creating one function, and for variable you are returning something. This is working as a local variable. So if I remove this, and if you have this, status is something that it is coming from this function, and this is status you are putting as a value in other function, right? This is status is how it is coming. It is coming from one of the function that we are putting as a value in other function, which is we are calling as a package. So on top you can see we are calling as a package, and this package we have created. Later on obviously we'll go and see, say import JSON or import requests, import pandas. Like that you will see so many import packages, and from this also you can like from something you can import something. Those things will come later on, right? We'll call the packages. Here the package that we have, actually the function that we have, the piece of code that we have created, and we are calling here, right? So those things are there. This is a good example. Let's move on to the next example, that is the recursive. We can see it's very easy. Recursive, where you have one condition. So we are defining one function, countdown less than 0, print done. Then you will go and see, if I go and put the number 5, so how this recursive function will work. 5, this is n minus 1. See, the number will go, because this is a loop, so the number will go one by one, it will go down, down, down. So first 5, then
5,
we are
4,
calling,
3.
yeah, we are calling the function countdown, like again it will call this function. So 4, and then 3, and then 2, and then 1. At the moment it will hit the condition, so all the time it will go and print the else condition. But at the moment it will go and reach to this condition, the if condition, it will print done and it will come out, right? Let's try to run this. See, done means all the time it is printing the else condition, this condition. So when you are calling this function with 5, it will check 5 is less than equal to 0, no, else. Then again 4 is less than equal to 0, no, else. 3, like that it will print 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and finally it will check that is 0 is less than equal to 0. Yeah, it is equal to 0. Done. Exit.
Question there. How is doing the loop? Because I don't see like a break there, or I was expecting like a for or a while, but
This function itself is decrementing.
yeah, I see that. Well, why don't get like the first one 5 and then exit? Why is go again and
Yeah,
again?
so I'll tell you why. So if you put here, we are calling this. So when we will call this, what it will do, it will go and check this. If it will go and check this 1, so it will check this if condition. If 1 is less than equal to 0, that is false. So it will go and check this else condition.
Oh, okay, I got it. Is calling. Yeah, sorry. Under below the print, that print, you
Yeah,
have the function again. Yeah,
yeah. So it
yeah.
will print
It's calling the function again.
it will print 1, and then again else. What is that? 1 minus 1 0. It will go here and it will print this done. So this condition itself is a loop, right? This is
What what happened? I am question there. What happened if you get like an infinite loop?
yeah. Then you
Eventually you will
can
get an error. Huh?
yeah. Then you can use break. There's no problem on that. You can use break anywhere. So here I can go and give one condition that if n equal to 10 break, right? So we can go and use the break statement. There's no problem, and then it will come outside. But yeah, there are chances when you are creating such type of program, there are chances that infinite loop will come, and then that is very difficult to resolve. So you can use break condition in that, and that's why whenever you write your program, you use error handlings on that. You type you put those conditions like exception handling on those. Otherwise, you will never find out where is the issue. If you have very big program, it's very difficult to find where is the issue, right? So that's why whenever we are writing the program, put these type of small comments, then define the programs in different modules, put the error handling in that, exception handling in that, and then if something will show up, it will show up in the error. Okay. All right. So let's go back to the agenda here. You can see now these are the programs. I have added the output as well. Even these are the script that you can simply execute. You can see and execute. Then we have the slicing of a string. This is very easy topic. Slicing of a strings is, you can see you have some string ABCD. Now from that string, if you want to print from 0 to 8, from 0 to 8, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So up to here, it will go and print. Like that, you can take any example and you can work. So let me show you this. You can go to the interpreter, and then you can give, say, a equal to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, whatever. And then you can print C, A, and within A, for example, 0 to 3. So you can see that 0 to 3 means 4 characters. So 1, 2, 3, or 3 characters, 0 to 3, from here to here, right? If I go and print 2 to, oops, 2 to 6. So starting from 2, because they will, number is actually 0, 0, 1, 2. 2 means third number. So from here up to here like that. Then you can see this lower, then you can see this upper, all those things are there. So if I can go here and print so dot upper, these are the inbuilt functions that we have. And then if you can go and give a lower up, these are the functions, but again these things will also come into the picture later on. When we have some IP addresses and we want to break that IP addresses in 4 pieces, like 192.168.1.1, all these 4 pieces I want, so I can go and use some slice function, break at dot, and then I can take those functions and use somewhere in the operations and all. So there are some small function. I can see that strings are immutable because they are fixed quantity, so they are immutable like that. Then you have the arrays. You can see arrays are used to store multiple values in single variable. So you can see that you have list. This is nothing but a list, right? We are defining list like this: 192.168.1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and then some number is there u. Then if you go and print number 0, it will go and print this. Then if you go and print 1, it will go and print 1, 2, 3 like that. This is the array. In this array, if you have to go and add something, you can see you can use the append function. You can add one extra line here, right? So like that, small functions are there that will come into the picture. But mostly in our program, we are going to use list and dictionary. As a network engineer for automation engineer, when you do the programming, you will find mostly we are going to use the list and the dictionary, and little bit of such type of operations will come into the picture. Okay, and that's why I have added only these important things in our section. Now you can see that we have one example, automation example, related to we want to do the configuration check. Now this configuration check, obviously I have added the configuration line here. For router 11, I want to check interface 01. This is the IP address. This is the configuration we have here, right? But anyways, you will not have configuration in a script you are checking. You will log into this device and then you will check, right? You will log into the device via certain methods, and then you have to check the configuration or compliance check or anything. The moment you think that this is our configuration, we want to check. So we have one function called parse the config. Now you can see that we are using this function called a split /n. What it will do is it will split this line and this line. So in my configuration, I have only 2 lines here: interface name, interface IP, and it will return the interfaces. So it will return the interfaces. Okay. So this function, what we are doing the parsing. We are breaking this and this. We are breaking these 2 lines. Now, once you break these 2 lines, then you will check the IP. So device config, device name config. Now you'll see interface. Now you can see the nesting of the functions. So interface is parse config. What is this parse? This parse, what it is returning? Interfaces. So this value is what? Interface. How many interface you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is again just a example, a very small example to understand. You may have 0, 1 in this also, 0, 1 in this also, 0, 1 in this also, right? But just to understand that we have one inventory for interfaces. So now we have the condition for interface. In interfaces, one by one, it will go and read this, then it will read this, then it will read this, then it will read this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This loop will go for 5 times. So this interface we have 5 times. Now what we are checking, if IP address in interfaces. So now we have the if condition, print the device name with IP address, right? So IP address in the interfaces. So IP address in the interfaces, we have only these two interfaces with IP address, right? This and this. So what it will do, print the device name and IP. So it will go and print this. This will get reflected. So if I go and run this function, I can see that this, in the output, you can see that R11 has IP address, this R12 has the IP address, this. These statements are printing device name R11 has IP configuration. Interfaces. What is this interface? This interface, how this will get come? This interface that you are slicing this from here, right? And finally, check IP for all the interfaces. Then I have this for loop. This is some extra line of items that you are checking the IP configure for all the devices. You can go and use this function, check IP config. Device config, IP config for all the devices, you can go and check. Right, so why not? Let's go and check this. This is a little bit complicated, right? And you have, after this class, you have 2-3 days off. You can go and check all these small functions. This is little bit complicated, 3.3. And then this 3.5 is something that these functions, later on these functions will get replaced with API calls. But the logic you will see, the logic that will go and use as a for loop, as the if condition, that will be the same in the upcoming section. But these will get replaced. So instead of matching this number, matching these numbers, we have some URL and we have some API calls. And from that URL, that API call, you will get some output in JSON format. And that output you will match with for condition and if condition, and then you will print something. Right, so these things will happen in the upcoming section.
Okay.
Okay, so here you can see the output. I will give you some time that you please go and complete these sections and try to modify this script. Next section, I'll start from here because this is something that we should spend some 10-15 minutes more on this script because it has so many things to discuss, right? So please check these, please check today's class, and in the next session, we will start from here. We will check this script, we'll add some lines here, we'll remove some entries from here, and we'll break this script in different parts. I'll try to understand more in this script. Okay, all right. If you have any question, query, please feel free to ask.